What would you do if the secret of your pregnancy came out in the worst way possible? It was supposed to be the perfect Friday night. I had spent hours preparing Liam's favorite dinner, hoping that maybe, just maybe, his father would finally approve of me after months of quiet judgment. But then Frank leaned in and whispered something into Liam's ear, and everything changed. In a flash, Liam's face went from calm to livid. And then, before I could say a single word, he slapped me, his pregnant wife. He didn't even stop to ask a question. He just reacted. My cheek exploded with pain, the room spun, and tears filled my eyes. Then nausea hit me hard. I lost control and vomited right there in the dining room. When I stumbled back, my purse spilled open, and the pregnancy test I had been carrying slipped out. Liam's face drained of color. He stared at the test, then at me. "Ellie, are you?" I nodded, barely able to speak. "Yes. I was going to tell you tonight. That's why I made all this." The silence that followed was brutal. He looked down at his hand, the one that had just hit me. Frank stood still, lips tight, but he couldn't hide the look in his eyes. He hadn't expected this. Neither had I. "Oh my God," Liam said, stepping forward, his voice shaky. "Ellie, I flinched." He stopped. The man I thought would protect me had raised his hand to me. Our entire life shifted in that moment. The joy I had wanted to share was drowned in violence. Then the front door creaked. Natalie, our neighbor, stood there, worry written all over her face. "I heard yelling," she said, looking from my cheek to Liam, to Frank. "Is everything okay?" Nothing was okay, and I knew it wouldn't be for a long time. I met Liam on a rainy Monday at a coffee shop in Tulsa. I was grading papers. He spilled his drink all over my lesson plans and panicked trying to clean them up. He was so flustered I laughed, and he offered to take me to dinner to make it up to me. He was sweet, easy to like. He looked at me like I mattered. Our marriage started beautifully. A small house, future plans, talk of children. Then Frank moved in. "Just temporary," Liam said. "Dad needs support." The divorce hit him hard. I tried to be patient, but Frank never thought I was good enough. My meals, my cleaning, how I spoke to Liam, everything was wrong in his eyes. He'd comment on the protein in Liam's lunches, talk about how he used to handle things better. At first, Liam stayed the same. But gradually, after every whispered talk with Frank, things changed. He started nitpicking, complaining about dinner, how I folded his shirts, how much I texted my sister. Small things, but they added up, and always, they followed a conversation with Frank. When I found out I was pregnant, I should have been thrilled. Instead, I was terrified. I hadn't told anyone. I hid my morning sickness at work, pretended the exhaustion was from end-of-term grading. I wanted to tell Liam first. I wanted one peaceful moment between us. I planned that dinner so carefully. His favorite food, a baby onesie hidden in a gift bag. And Frank invited himself. "Family dinners are important," he said. I was in the kitchen when I overheard him on the phone. "She's hiding something. Probably cheating. My son deserves better." My hands trembled. Was that what he told Liam? Was that what made Liam hit me without thinking? Standing in that dining room, with Natalie watching and my secret spilled, I realized something. I had tried so hard to keep the peace. But the peace was never real. I touched my belly. The baby inside me deserved more. I deserve more. "Ellie," Liam said, stepping forward again. "Please let me explain." Natalie stepped between us. "She's coming with me. Don't try to stop her." We walked out. Frank's voice echoed behind us. "She's emotional. You know how pregnant women get." The door shut. The damage was done. The next few days at Natalie's house blurred together. She handled everything. Got my things, called work, held my hair back when I was sick. "Your house doesn't feel like home anymore," she said one morning, handing me tea. She was right. Frank had taken over everything. Rearranged my kitchen. Commented on my weight. Manipulated Liam until he barely recognized me. "Remember when Liam missed your cousin's wedding?" Natalie asked. Frank said he had anxiety and didn't want to be left alone. Liam didn't even hesitate. I nodded. That hurt. Liam's messages kept coming. "I'm sorry. I miss you. Please come home." Frank's messages were different. "You're tearing this family apart. Liam is heartbroken. A real wife would fix this." 1 week after it happened, Natalie took me to my first prenatal appointment. She held my hand as we heard the baby's heartbeat for the first time. It was strong. I cried, happy and broken all at once. "Want me to record it for him?" she whispered. I nodded. That night, I sent Liam the audio with one message. "Your child's heartbeat." He replied quickly. "Please, can we talk? Just us. No dad." I stared at myself in Natalie's mirror. The bruise was almost gone. The fear wasn't. Then Frank texted, "How dare you send that to him without asking me first? I'm his father. I should be included." Something inside me snapped. I typed back, "You are not part of any decisions about my baby. Never have been. Never will be." Then I blocked him. Liam called. This time I answered. "I heard Dad bragging," he said. "He lied about everything. He made it all up. And I believed him. I hit you because I trusted his lies." He cried. I stayed silent. Then I spoke. "You have to choose. Either your father moves out, or I don't come back. And if I don't come back, I'm getting a lawyer. I won't raise a child in a house with violence." Silence. Then, "Meet me tomorrow at Cooper's Cafe. 1:30, where we met. Just us." I looked at my belly. Small, but full of hope. "Okay," I said. "But if Frank shows up, that's it. Forever." "He won't," Liam said. "I choose you, Ellie. I should have from the start." I wasn't sure I believed him. But for the sake of our baby, I had to find out. The next day, I left Natalie's and made my way to Cooper's Cafe. My hands were shaking. I got there early. I sat by the window, heart pounding. The familiar scent of coffee beans that once soothed me now churned my stomach. I chose a table by the entrance, easy to escape if things went south. Natalie waited across the street in her car, ready to intervene. At exactly 2 p.m., the bell over the door rang. Liam walked in alone, just like he promised. He looked rough, unshaven, exhausted, wearing the same wrinkled blue shirt from that night. My body tensed as he approached, but he stopped short of the table. "Can I sit?" he asked gently. I nodded. He lowered himself into the chair across from me, eyes briefly landing on my stomach before darting away in guilt. "I kicked him out," he said bluntly. "Last night. He's in a hotel now." I wrapped my hands around my untouched tea. "Just like that?" "No," Liam admitted. He screamed, begged, said I was betraying him. "I can't even repeat the names he called you." But I packed his stuff, told him if he didn't leave, I'd call the cops. A couple at the next table turned to look. I lowered my voice. "Why now, Liam? Why not after everything else he did?" "Because I became him," he said, voice cracking. "When I hit you, I became the thing I swore I'd never be, controlling, cruel, quick to believe the worst." He wiped his face roughly. "The sound of your head hitting that wall won't leave me." And then seeing that pregnancy test. A barista called an order and I jumped. Liam noticed. He flinched too. "I'm afraid of you," I said softly. "Do you get that? I'm carrying your child, and I'm scared of you." "You should be," he whispered. "There's no excuse for what I did. But Grace, I swear to you, it won't happen again. I'm starting therapy. First session is tomorrow. I have to understand how he got into my head." I took a shaky breath. "There are conditions. Non-negotiables." He leaned in. "Anything. Frank doesn't step foot in our house again. No holidays. No visits. He gets nothing. No baby news. No pictures. Nothing. Done. You stay in therapy. We do couples counseling. And if you ever lay a hand on me again, I walk. I go to the police. Full custody. No second chances." He nodded. "I get it." He took out his phone. "Already found a counselor. And this." He slid a business card toward me. "This is my lawyer. She's drafting documents that give you full custody if I ever hurt you again. One incident. That's all it takes." I picked up the card. My hand trembled. "You're serious?" "I love you, Grace. I love our baby. And I hate what I became." When I heard that heartbeat, I realized I was turning into the father I feared becoming. The one a child would flinch around. The silence was thick. Finally I spoke. "I'm not coming home." "Not yet. We start counseling first." Liam nodded, relieved. "Can I come to the next doctor's appointment?" For the first time since that night, I felt the tiniest flicker of something other than dread. "Yes. But Natalie comes too." "Of course. Anything you need." Sunlight poured through the cafe windows. We sat there, knowing the road ahead would be long. But for the first time, there was a road. The next 2 weeks felt like a cautious dance. Boundaries. Careful steps. Liam sent proof of every therapy session. Dr. Martinez, our couples counselor, helped us find some footing. Most sessions were supervised. We relearned how to speak to each other. But Frank wouldn't back down. "Liam," I texted one Tuesday, "your dad's parked outside my school." Again. I could see him from the classroom window, sitting in his silver sedan, watching the front entrance. Liam's reply was immediate. "Stay put. I'm calling the police." 15 minutes later, I watched 2 officers approach his car. He cried, played victim, said he was worried about his grandchild, But when they asked him to leave, his mask slipped. "She's poisoning my son against me," he screamed. "She trapped him with that baby." My classroom aide, Rachel, stepped up beside me. "Want me to record this? Could help with that restraining order." "Please," I whispered. That night in therapy, I showed Liam the video. "I never saw it before," he said hollowly. "That's exactly how she acted when Dad left. Always the victim. Always twisting things." Dr. Martinez nodded. "Generational abuse is real. But you're breaking it, Liam. Every time you choose grace over him, you break it." Later that week, we had another prenatal appointment. Natalie drove me. Liam followed in his own car. Safety protocol. The ultrasound technician guided the wand. Liam reached for my hand. For the first time since it happened, I let him. "Want to know the gender?" the tech asked. Liam looked at me. I nodded. "It's a girl," she said, smiling. "A girl." I placed my other hand over my stomach. A promise to myself. Our daughter would never grow up in fear. Not in our home. That evening, as Natalie and I left the clinic, Frank appeared. Before I could move, Liam stepped between us. "Leave," he said. "Now, or I'm calling the police. I have a right to know about my granddaughter." Frank yelled. He must have eavesdropped. "No," Liam replied. "You lost that right the night you made me hurt her." "I didn't make you do anything." Frank snapped. "She's manipulating you. Just like your mother did." "Security is on their way," Natalie cut in, holding up her phone. "They'll call the cops if you don't leave." Frank's face twisted in rage, but he backed off. "This isn't over," he shouted. "That's my grandchild." That night, in Natalie's guest room, I finally broke. I cried, loud and long. Liam sat outside the door. We weren't ready to sleep in the same space, but he refused to leave me alone. "The restraining order is filed," he said through the door. "For all three of us. My lawyer says the footage will make it stick." I pressed my palm to the door, felt his hand on the other side. "I'm sorry," he whispered, "for all of it, for letting him poison everything." "I know," I said. "But Liam, this isn't just for us. It's for her." I touched my belly. "She deserves more than we had." "She will," he said. "She'll have better." A week later, the restraining order came through. 500 feet. 3 months, renewable. Seeing Frank's name in writing made it feel real. We were drawing a line. Enforcing it. Liam kept going to therapy. We met with Dr. Martinez twice a week. Slowly, we peeled back the layers of abuse. "Tell me the first time you saw your dad affect your behavior," Dr. Martinez said during one session. Liam ran a hand through his hair. 2 months after our wedding," he said. "Grace made this huge birthday dinner for me. But Dad had already taken me out to lunch. He knew about the dinner," Grace told him. "He came home, acted like she was wasting money. Said she should have checked first." Dr. Martinez prompted, "What did you do?" He looked at me. I told her she shouldn't have spent the money, and she cried in the kitchen while we watched TV. I remembered. That dinner. The meal in the trash. Recognition, Dr. Martinez said gently, is the beginning of change. By my 5th month, I felt ready to move back home. Natalie helped me pack. "You sure about this?" "No," I admitted. "But I need to try. For her." The house felt different. Frank's belongings were gone. Photos, furniture, all of it. The dining set was new. Warm oak, round table. No head seat. No dominance. "We cook together now," Liam said. "Every baby decision. We decide together. No one else." The first test came at 7 months. Frank sent a package to my school. A silver rattle. With a note. "Family heirlooms can't be kept away with a court order." Liam took it straight to the lawyer. "He's testing us," he said. "We won't fail." She's still watching. The rattle was returned through legal channels, accompanied by a warning for violating the restraining order. That night, Liam held me while I cried. "What if she never stops?" I whispered. "What if our daughter has to live in fear?" "Then we protect her," he said firmly. "Every time. Every day. I won't fail her like I failed you." Dr. Martinez helped us form a safety plan. Passwords for daycare pickup, security cameras at home, and a list of trusted contacts in case of emergencies. As my due date approached, another threat surfaced. Somehow, Frank found out which hospital I had registered at. "We need to switch," Liam said, showing me a message Frank had passed through a cousin. "He's already trying to get information." So we changed hospitals, registered under Natalie's address, and made sure every nurse, every staff member, knew about the restraining order. It felt like overkill, but watching Liam take these steps helped rebuild my trust. "You're doing the work," Dr. Martinez told us in our final session before my due date. "Both of you. That's what matters." Looking around our home, our redefined home, at the nursery we created together, at the man Liam was becoming without Frank's influence, I felt something I hadn't in months: peace. Labor began at 2 a.m. on a quiet Tuesday. Liam called Natalie first, then sprang into action. Hospital bag, car seat, cameras all in check. No sign of Frank's car. The delivery room was calm. Liam stayed by my head, whispering support. Natalie stood guard outside the door. After 12 hours of labor, our daughter, Lily Grace, was born. She entered the world screaming. "She's perfect," Liam whispered, tears rolling down his cheeks. "She looks just like you." As I held Lily, I studied her tiny face. My hair. Liam's nose. 10 perfect fingers and toes. She was everything we had fought for. The first test came quicker than we thought. A flower delivery arrived at the hospital, addressed to my first granddaughter, Lily. Liam intercepted it. The card inside read, "Blood is thicker than water. She'll need her grandmother soon enough." Instead of hiding it, Liam brought it to me. "No more secrets," he said. Then he tore it in half in front of me. Hospital security doubled their rounds. Natalie's partner, Tom, a police officer, stood watch outside our room overnight. We were protected, surrounded by people who understood. Coming home didn't look the way I imagined. Liam had added security lights, changed locks, updated the cameras. Inside, it was just us, our family of 3. "Welcome home, Lily," I whispered, carrying her into the nursery we had built with hope. Soft colors, stuffed animals, shelves of books, everything chosen with care. The next few weeks passed in a haze of diapers, feedings, and healing. Liam had taken paternity leave. He was there every moment. Our parenting was built without Frank's voice, free from his judgment. At Lily's 1-month checkup, the pediatrician smiled. "She's thriving. Keep doing whatever you're doing." That night, as we sat by her crib, Liam took my hand. "I saw him today," he said quietly. "At the grocery store." I tensed. What happened? He tried to ask about Lily. I walked away, called security. I followed our plan. I exhaled slowly. "How do you feel?" "Sad," he admitted, "but resolved. Our daughter will never know love that manipulates or controls. Only the real kind." I looked down at Lily, sleeping peacefully. He was right. The cycle was broken. This home, our home, was different now. A place of safety. A place of healing. A place where love didn't come with strings. Lily stirred, letting out a soft sigh. We smiled, hands still linked, watching her. "Thank you," Liam whispered. "For what?" "For giving me another chance. For showing me what family means. For her." I leaned against him. For the first time in years, I felt safe. "We did this together," I said. "And we'll keep doing it. For her." Outside, the sun set on another day in our new life. A life we built with intention. A life we would protect at all costs. But after everything, can I truly trust Liam again? Can he really become the partner I dreamed of? From a logical perspective, our relationship faces a serious test. Liam's violence didn't come from nowhere. It was the result of years of influence. Patterns built over time don't just disappear. Not with apologies. Not with one act of change. Real transformation is slow. It requires work. Therapy. Rebuilding trust through action. Liam feels guilt. He wants to make it right. But that's not enough. Not yet. It all comes down to trust. Can I move forward knowing what he did? Can he rebuild what he broke? It's a question time will answer. This story, our story, is a reminder. Real relationships are built on respect and mutual protection. No one can change unless they accept responsibility. Real growth takes effort. It takes commitment. What about you? Would you forgive? Would you believe someone can change after they hurt you? Is change real, or just a promise?